Hey everybody, HMV here. Playing more Kerbal Space Program, and we are launching without our computer on. There we go. The Ike Mega Mission. These are the satellites for the Ike Mega Mission. These are going to allow us to get some communications going. They're going to allow us to ideally have full communication with Kerbin throughout the mission, or at least through, let's say, 90% of it. In particular, though, they will also allow scanning of Ike for resources, so we can plan where we're going to put the drilling station, and they're also going to allow a ground base on Duna for possibly a future mission to communicate back to Kerbin via Ike, because I don't know if you know this about Duna, but Duna and Ike are tidally locked. So if you are on the surface of Duna and you can see Ike, and Ike is high enough in the sky, obviously, you can see any satellites orbiting Ike that happen to be in view of you, and I have plans for all of that. I have set this upper tank of these two tanks to drain second, so that we have a little bit of... we don't shift our mass too far to the back, because this is a fairly empty aeroshell here that has our 3 satellites under it. I am using the new strutting ability, the truss, I guess I should say, ability of the fairing to hold all 3 satellites in here, and I'm pretty happy about it. I'm pretty excited to show it to you as soon as we get up into some sort of orbital type thing. The engine here is designed to get us into a pretty good orbit, a little high, but on the apoapsis. But as long as we keep it sideways here, we'll get our periapsis out most of the way before we get engine burnout and before our apoapsis gets too high. But here we go. It's over 100. I'm just going to burn the engine out so we don't have to worry about extra fuel or anything. Okay, and as we cross 60 kilometers, I'm going to hit the spacebar to ditch the fairing. There's our satellites. We're going to get rid of that. And there we go. We've got the trusses going up here. Apparently we are draggier than the engine, so let's go ahead and let that engine do its thing. I'm going to get a little bit away from that engine just so it doesn't knock into my solar panels here. But this guy, this engine's going to get him all the way to Ike. You see it's got apparently $2,000 a Delta V, which is nice, although I think that might assume that we're getting rid of all these things, which obviously we're not doing until we get all the way to Ike. But it only needs like, what, 1,200 or so, maybe another couple hundred to deorbit there, and it's definitely got that. So what we got here is, this is the main scanner. He's going into a polar orbit. These two guys are duplicates of each other. They've got the big communication satellites. One of these guys is going polar. One of these guys is going equatorial. Essentially, these guys should be able to talk to each other almost all the time. On the rare occasions where these guys can't talk to each other, this guy should always be in view of both of them. And he can relay between them with the little relay antenna he has right here, which I'm going to deploy right now just for the fun of it. And I think, do I have to turn these on? I don't remember. No, they're just always on. These guys have no science on them. They have no anything else. We're just going to put them into a stable orbit. Get them right up to 100. There we go. I'm using precise maneuver. I'm trying it over precise node. So far, I prefer precise node's size. But I kind of like having all the tuggies on here, although I haven't used them. So I don't know how useful it actually is, considering I'm not using it. But we're going to get these guys into a stable orbit, and then I am going to plot my trajectory to Duna. I'm going to plot my maneuver to Duna, which should be sometime in the next month or so. I'm going to plot it ahead of time. I've done it before on camera, so I'm not going to do it this time, because I'm trying to save the drudgery from you guys, so you guys don't have to see the same things over and over again. But for some reason, I will show you this burn. There we go. 117 by 400, and the satellite is ready to go. Okay, I had to uninstall Precise Maneuver and reinstall Precise Node because I'm going to be reporting some bugs on the precise maneuver thread, but suffice it to say, at least the version I have, maybe they've updated. I haven't downloaded anything in a couple days, and everything's new right now. But the buttons just literally were not working. They would either not update the screen and update here, or they would update. Or they wouldn't update here, but they would update what was on the screen, and then they were disabling and enabling themselves. It was a great time. But anyway, we have an encounter here. It is a mere 1,000 meters per second. It's in, I don't know how long. What does that tell me? 58 some odd days. So we need to launch our second ship, which is going to have the people in it. And what we want to do here is we want to launch it here. We want to launch it when Kerbin is under this maneuver node, or actually probably a little bit closer to here, so that we are in an orbit, because the other ship is going to have a high periapsis or a high apoapsis, probably somewhere in the vicinity, like between the station and the ground. And what we want to do is we want to make sure we're utilizing that the best, because notice this apoapsis being way over here isn't the super efficient. If we can get the apoapsis over here, that way when we do the burn, it'll just raise it up and head us off this way. There she is. And look at that. We just took a bunch of science already and collected it in the pod. Thank you, science, whatever your name is. Valentina is taking Orgard up to Ike. They're both coming back. I had considered the possibility of Orgard not coming back. The heat shield, we need to run this test. Boom. Thank you, people who are helping us fund the mission, for $475. We need to see what the other things we need to do. We need to test the spark, which might be a little bit harder, because the spark is on the bottom of this guy. There it is. Run the test. That's bad. I didn't think running the test would turn it on. You learn you learn everything here. We've tested the heat shield. We've tested the spark. Okay. Now the spark is activated now, so we need to turn it off. And then hopefully it will remember that it'll remember that it's off, etc. I might also need to balance the fuel, although I think it probably took the fuel out of this top fuel tank. But anyway, who cares about that? We've tested the spark, we've tested that. We have one more thing. Test the vector. That will just happen when we launch. And then the rest of this stuff is just happening. We are going to haul this thing into orbit. We're going to be extracting ore from Ike and putting it into Duna orbit. And we're also going to be conducting seismic surveys of Ike. And that's all going to happen starting in 3, 2, 1, launch. Why didn't the vectors go? I'm going to actually recover this vessel and launch it again, because I think that staging that thing caused some problems. So we're going to recover this because we're going to get all of our money back, because it's right on the launch pad. And we're just going to launch yet another one. We had a structural problem on the launch pad, not a big deal. Extract ore from Minmus and deliver it to Kerbin, we could do that. Science data from space by Minmus, we could do that. I don't really feel like it. Explore the moon, again, another explorer that we don't want. Yeah, we don't want to do any of these. Yeah, let's get out of here. It needs, yeah, the vector. You know what? I think we've tested the vector now on the launch pad. I'm not 100% sure I want to use the vector, so I'm gonna maybe reconfigure the bottom of this thing to maybe get a little bit more delta V out of it. And now my staging's wrong, and there is something seriously wrong with this ship. Yeah, I think something came disconnected. F3. What the H? Let's revert to launch. There's everything. There we go. I have no idea what's wrong, but let's go with it. Okay, replacing the mammoth with the 3 vectors with a mammoth lowered the cost, lowered the delta V a little bit, but gave us more thrust to weight off the pad. So I think they'll balance out. That's what you think, right? You never know these things. We don't want to launch in 3, 2, 1 though. We want to find our driller here, or our satellites here. Ike Mega Mission satellites. We're going to set them as our target, and we want to be around here on the launch pad when we launch. Sadly, we're going to be launching in the early morning, so it's going to be dark, but it's not going to be too bad. I think we're going to launch at his periapsis, when we're right under his periapsis. I think that'll be a good time to do it. Seems good right now. Let's go ahead and hit F5 in case this is completely wrong. And in 3, 2, 1, launch. There we go. We can't run the fluid barometer, but I think we'll live. We should already be tilting over because this guy does have quite a bit of TWR. Well, I think once we get up to say a minute to apoapsis, I'm going to start throttling down. You guys, of course, don't have the vectoring ability that the vectors have, Victor, but we should still be okay. I'm going to throttle down just a little bit here as we're crossing the 40 line. I don't want to go too crazy with the air resistance, because we've still got to turn over quite a bit. Note, as we're burning up here, our periapsis is coming around, which is nice. We've got 200 and some odd meters per second left. This is looking pretty much perfect. It's almost as if I planned it to go this way. But there go our engines. We are still deep within the plasmatic part of the atmosphere. It's also not even day. Might as well wait till it is day before we ditch the fairings. Watch ourselves an orbital sunrise. Well, they don't get to see it because they're under the fairings. But now let's ditch these things. There they go. Oh, look how beautiful that is. Okay, now I'm going to hit X here. Or Z no, X to kill the throttle. Now we're going to ditch that bottom stage. And I just realized now all my top stages are in the same stage. So let's fix that, shall we? These guys all need to go next. And that's literally it. There they go. Gonna throttle away from the lower thing a little bit. We had a stack separator here specifically to test it. We don't even need to test it. We just needed to haul it. So we did that. So we've now tested that stack separator, and we are good to go. This ship is pretty simple. It's just got the ore tanks, the drill. It looks a lot like the Minmus ship, but it has radiators and solar panels and a antenna somewhere right here. Go ahead and extend that. We do not have the antenna ability. Let's go and extend them both just for the fun of it. We do not have the antenna ability on these guys to talk back to Kerbin. But they don't need to, because first of all, Val's with him. And second of all, we've got the satellites, and even way out in orbit on the way to what do you call it, Duna, these guys are ideally going to be close enough to each other that we'll actually be able to I need to let my apoapsis burn up. We're going to be able to, let's just do that. Get them up to 100. If I could talk in my words, if I could use my words, we're going to be able to talk through the satellites that are heading there. We should be able to talk to them and then get data back to Kerbin, if strictly necessary. So Val is going to turn herself around here. Val is not going to land on Ike. Val's entire job is to make sure Orgard survives his forays into the thing. Or she's going to, if we don't have satellite back to Kerbin, she's going to be piloting Orgard remotely so that we can have SAS and things like that. These are all plans. I don't know if they're going to work or not. And part of this, is testing the whole system, because I don't know exactly how things work, and I want to make sure I do when I do a real series in the future. Also, I need to make sure my fuel flow is all correct. There we go. This guy is draining, this guy is not, and these guys are also, if I could click on them, not draining. Yes, so we got 4 engines pulling out of this fuel tank, and when this fuel tank is gone, what we can do here is we can, that'll be ideally after the ejection to Ike. This fuel tank will probably be empty, or close to it, and then we can detach it and then hook these guys back up together nose to nose. That's the goal. And here's a trick actually that I didn't even think of while building this thing, but we were talking about it on the forums. And if you turn auto strutting on to grandparent on all of your docking ports, anytime you dock someone to someone, you're always going to get a automatic strut across those ships, because either the parent part is going to be over here, or it's going to be over here. There's no other choice for it. So either this docking port is going to dock this way to this guy, or this docking port is going to connect this way to this guy. That way you always get a really good connection. Right now, I don't know. I think this is the root part. So this guy is actually not connecting to anything, possibly, because he's right on the root part. But this guy is connecting to this docking port right now. And then when they do connect, he's going to connect to this parent, which is awesome. I think that's a really good way to make sure your docking ports are always secure. Also, I don't think... Well, we do have solar panel power on this guy, and we don't need that much. So I think we're just going to leave it at this. And this is a pretty cool shot here. Might as well take it while you can. And we are ready now to make our maneuver node, and it's going to be right around here somewhere. Actually, it's not going to be right around here somewhere. It's going to be... I want the exact time of this orbit here. Let's go ahead and switch to the satellites. And then in precise node, we're going to copy the universal time here. Then we're going to switch back to the Mega Mission Driller. And we're going to make a maneuver node anywhere, and then we're going to paste that time into it. And now that is the roughly the time we want to do this burn. Now, we're closer to it on this side, so we're going to drag it around to this way. And I'm pretty sure now this won't undo anything here. Let's make sure it's still 54 days in the future, which is perfect. And now we probably want this to be somewhere around 1,000. Oh, less than 1,000. Now let's zoom out. Because we might just have the exact timing wrong. Yep, we want less than 1,000. That's awesome. Set Duna as our target. We've already got really close to a perfect thing here. This is going to be cheap. Let's actually... Yeah, if we just tweak the time a little bit, boom, we got it. So I think that's good. So, we don't have Kerbal Alarm Clock installed, so we have to do this manually. And obviously, our satellites are going to be going first. Let's actually make our satellites our target again. Our satellites are burning first. They're burning in 54 days and 1 hour. We are burning in 54 days. Oh, wait, 1 hour and 34 minutes. 1 hour and 6 minutes. So this guy's burning a half hour before this guy. So we're going to switch to our satellites. We're going to hit F5. And we're going to utilize my new time warp tool. Let's actually get into a mode where we get to continually look at Kerbin. There we go. And let's induce some spasms here. 50. Oh, look at those days ticking by. Whoa. There's power and danger in time warp. Now, I don't know exactly how long this burn's going to take. And now I need to restore from quick save. Okay, I'm back. We are coming up here now. Like I said, I don't know exactly how long this burn is, but I can actually figure it out. The node is in 5 minutes. It's 1,008 meters per second. Our delta V, this is actually not right, though, now that I think about it. Because that's assuming we ditch everything. I wish you could tell Kerbal Engineer, no, I don't want to ditch anything. But you can't, so that's just the way it works. We've got our solar panels up already, which is nice. Let's get aimed at our maneuver node here. But let's assume that we are twice as heavy as we think we would be. That means it's going to take... It's about a minute per 1,000, so maybe 2 minutes. I would be kind of shocked if it was that much. But let's add a minute. We're going to hit the gas and see what it says. Can't wait for better burn time to get updated. Oops, 30 seconds. 39 seconds. Okay, that's actually pretty good. So we're gonna go down to about 20 seconds, maybe 25, and then hit the gas. And these satellites, of course, have their own fuel tanks and engines and things. They just don't have a lot of abilities. I think in a pinch they could probably slow down a dike. I don't know if they could get into the orbits I want them to from Interplanetary. Okay, when we get close to the end here, I'm going to tweak the rest of this manually. Let's go ahead and just ditch the maneuver node. Let's aim at it and then ditch it. Is that making it better or worse? We could always fix it here. You know what? We're close enough. I think I'm going to fix it here. Let's add a maneuver to fix it here. Can you focus on the maneuver node? I thought you could. Maybe because we're not in the sphere of influence. Let's focus on sun instead. What do we want to do here? We are showing up This is us. This is Duna. So we're getting there a little late. So if we radial in... No, radial out. That'll get us to show up slightly earlier. And actually, let's fix our descending node first. Our descending node it's 0, so tiny little positive. There we go. And then radial out. Is that actually making it better? 81, 80. Yes, it is. We now have our closest approach. Let's go ahead and focus on Duna. We might as well get this encounter as perfect as we can. Now, we, of course, don't care about Duna. We care about Ike. So as we radial here, we are getting closer. What if we... Prograde is about the same. So we might as well utilize the... Yeah, see, Ike is over there, which is the exact opposite of what we want. We can bring it back, though, by radial. Yeah, if we radial down... and then prograde, or anti-prograde, aka retrograde. Now we've changed the time we show up at Duna to be a time closer to when we are at Ike. There we go. Now we just need to come in on the other side of Ike. So we're coming in from the outside, and then we can get into a nice orbit of Ike. Yeah, I see, and it's been a few days since I made this. I don't remember now. I'm wondering if I wanted to ditch the fuel tanks now. The fuel tank has so much fuel in it, though. Now I think I'm gonna keep it up the way it is. We have two guys. See, the thing is, we have two guys who want to go polar, and one guy who wants to go equatorial. And the guy who wants to go equatorial is probably. We actually probably want to do the polar guy last. It probably doesn't matter. Now it doesn't matter. So I think we're gonna go polar, and then we'll ditch the guys and all that stuff. So. What we want to do here is we want to come over Ike's North Pole. I guess we could focus on Ike. Yeah, and see, we want to ideally land here. We're going to have to land here eventually. I'm hoping that there's ore here, so we can land there, drill for the ore, and then maybe even hop to a new spot. Let's see, prograde, yes. A little bit positive on the normal. That's pretty much perfect. And then a tiny, tiny smooge prograde. See, the reason I'm preferring prograde over radial is if you look here, the prograde and the radial do about the same thing. But adding to the prograde actually adds less delta V total to the thing. Because we're cutting a diagonal here between the prograde and the radial. So whichever one is higher actually costs more to add one more to it, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, it's math. Just trust me. Okay, and I think we want to go a tiny bit more to the north. The higher we are, the better. Actually, no, I don't know. I don't think it matters that much. It's Ike. Okay, so you guys are set. You have a maneuver node in 91 days, but we have somebody who has a maneuver node much sooner than that. And that's this guy on his next orbit, I believe. Let's switch to the driller. Okay, Val still doesn't know how to aim at maneuver nodes. Hopefully this trip will teach her that. She's going to do a remote study course on maneuver node aiming on her way to Duna. And ideally that means she's going to know what to do here. We could also, you know what, let's... Yeah, see, we're not transferring science. So let's transfer it into one of the command pods because those are coming back. Yeah. Okay, and we've got fuel in this guy. Obviously, all these are wrong. This is the very last thing to happen. This is going to happen first. Then this. And then we can do the parachutes. I don't think we have a part testing contract for parachutes. No, we don't. Okay, and this one also, we don't know exactly how much fuel we have. However, Kerbal Engineer should be accurate on him. It's a 6-minute burn for 1275. We're doing about half that, so it's going to be about a 3-minute burn. So at a minute and a half, we're gonna punch it and get out of here. I think at a minute and 40, we're going to do a test burn. 3 minutes and 22. Yeah, might as well start now. Trying 4 times time warp under acceleration. So far, Kerbal Space Program's doing well. If only you could see it. Sorry, all people in YouTube land. That's the best I can do is put it there. This fuel tank ideally will be completely drained. It looks like it will be. So we'll be able to toss it into interstellar space and then ignore it forever. Okay, ready to hit the X key any moment now. And done. How do we look? Let's get aimed at this node. Let's go ahead and delete the node now. We already have a connection with Duna. Let's actually set it as our target. No, we don't have a connection with Duna. I can't tell if we have a connection with Duna or not. We do. Is that us? That's us. Sweet. That is pretty awesome. Okay, we're going to leave it at this then. Although we're right at our thing now, so maybe we should burn a little bit more. Let's see what happens if we burn a teeny bit more. There we go. It's weird that we're basically, we're basically at our ascending node. And we're still, like, we've passed it here, and then it arrives here. I guess here is where we want to do our, well, yeah, but we're going to be there already. I honestly don't know. Let's add a maneuver here and go minus an orbit. We can't. Is that actually on the next orbit? It is 82 days from now. I guess it is. And then we're going to burn north. And obviously we want to go to Ike as well. We don't care about Duna itself. So let's radial out. There's Ike. See, as we radial out, Ike is going the other way. So we want to also prograde down to pull Ike back to where we want it to be. See, radial in and prograde down are moving Ike to the way we want it to be. So we can use Ike to our advantage. Now that's a collision with Ike, and honestly, I'm happy with that. We can nail the other one when the time comes. This is 5.9 meters per second in 82 days. I think I'm going to leave us here as we eject to Ike. Next time we're going to arrive there, hopefully get all the satellites set up, and then going to land. And I'm really expecting 1.2 to come out sometime this week, hopefully maybe Tuesday, who knows. So I might be dropping this series at any time to start a new one. But I might keep this one up at least until we finish this mission, give mods a chance to upgrade to the new version before I start something new. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I'm HMV, and I will, as always, talk at you later.